Hi everybody,
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about Biblios, Quill and Parchment. And this is published by Dr. Finn Games and designed by Steve Finn himself.
All right, guys, this is kind of the roll and write sequel, or sequel to Biblios. In this game,
Follow up, second.
yeah, that one. It's not a prequel; it's the other one.
It's a sequel. Yeah, the thing that comes after, not before.
All right, so in this game, you're basically rolling these dice. You're getting various actions to help you move along this kind of traveling track. You are writing these books out, and you are ultimately trying to score the most points. All right, let me show you how it works. All right, here's our setup for Biblios, Quill, and Parchment. We have kind of our main board up here, and then every player is going to have their own player board down here. And every player is also going to have these 6 dice. We have 3 of the book dice, 2 influence dice, and 1 travel dice. The game is divided into 2 halves. The first 4 rounds are the first half. The second 4 rounds are the second half. Basically, the first 4 rounds, we are just kind of building up our resources. And then we're in the second round, the second half of the game, we're spending those resources. So let's see what it looks like to roll these things. You have the option of either keeping exactly what you have. You have the option of re-rolling all the dice. Or you have the option of re-rolling just 1 dice. And you can have up to 3 re-rolls. So let's say, we don't like this one. We're going to do just that 1 re-roll. It's the same thing. We're going to re-roll it 1 more time. All right, we're just going to keep that one the way it is. Okay, so now we're going to take these white dice. These are influence dice. It's our resource in the game. We've got 10. We're going to write 10 down on our book here. All right, then also we have on our book dice, we have a philosophy and we have a plants. We're going to mark that down over here, showing that we've done that work. And then we have a 1 on our travel die. We have a little map over here on our board. We're going to be traveling along it. Mark that off as well. That's it. That's the whole round. All right, so let's do it again. Second round, everybody's doing their thing. We've got 6s here. That's great. This time we're going to re-roll our travel die. We want to get a little more distance out of it. Still only have a 1. Still only have a 1. All right, this time we got a 1 and a asterisk there, which I'll show you what that means. So let's write down our 12 for our influence. We're going to add that to our 10. So now down here in the total box, we have 22. Let's mark our books. We have a pink, which is astronomy. We have prayer, and we have philosophy. Let's mark all those down as well. We're trying to get further and further up on these tracks for all these different various books. And then for our last one, for our travel die, we're just going to move once again. There's only 1 travel figure, but there is an asterisk as well. The asterisk matches these symbols here at the top of each of these rows. You can only use it in 1 asterisk per column. Let's use it in red right now. So we're going to cross off that asterisk, fill that in, and mark 1 red book. So that's how the first 4 rounds are going to go. We're going to keep on getting more and more of this influence until we have a final total here at the end of the first age. Adding more and more books. We're going to keep on adding more books during the second round as well, but just trying to get a good baseline of some things that we want to go for, and getting as far as we can on the travel map. Also on the book die, we didn't see any rolled, but there are these chapel symbols like this. When you roll a chapel symbol, you actually go up on the chapel track over here. So these are basically pews in a chapel. There's symbols for each character. So we're the square, let's say. There's also, let's say, a circle and a quill symbol. So if we were to have rolled one of those, we would have advanced on to the next pew in the chapel. The further up you go in the chapel, there's some additional points and some special abilities. Maybe you're going to fill in some books, that kind of thing. Okay, after the 4th round, we kind of changed gears here. Now everybody gets rid of the dice they had previously. No longer needed. And we're going to fill in this little chart up here. So we've got a couple of dice there. I'll bring this back down. It's kind of sliding away from me. All right, so after we've got all that, we're basically going to roll these individually by row and put them back on there. So everyone's going to see what they are. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bid for those rows. So here in our influence column, we're going to actually write down what our bid is. So let's say we finish with, like 35. We want to bid, 8, which now our total is obviously 27 going into the next round. But we're all going to simultaneously reveal what we bid. And then based off of whoever had the most bid, then we are going to take one of those rows. In the case of the tie, whoever's higher on the chapel track is going to go first. So let's say we take this track right here. This is going to give us 2 gray books. It's going to give us 3 travelers plus an additional traveler. There's a symbol there on the board. So we'd fill all that in. Whoever took this row would get those book symbols, that much traveler. They also have the ability to change 1 die into a chapel die if they wanted. All right, and this top row here is kind of the most important one. It's usually the most popular one, but you never know. This one's going to get those book dice. You're going to get whatever that travel dice says, but you're also going to get this die right here. It's called the embellishment dice. It's got pluses and minuses on it, so you're going to roll that when you roll it. And basically, this is going to modify these dice values up here. Each one of these dice corresponds to these book values. At the end of the game, basically what's going to happen is whoever is the highest on these various book tracks is going to get this value multiplied by 3. So what you want to do is you want to take whatever book you're best at. Let's say you have a ton of pinks. What you want to do is get that dice, and that way you can take the 3 that it is starting value, turn it into a 4, maybe eventually a 5, maybe eventually a 6. So that's why at the end of the round, or the end of the game, you're going to get a big old multiplier for having the most pinks and having that dice be a high value. There's also minus symbols, so that way you can, let's say somebody else is doing a really great job in blue, you can make, knock blue down a peg, so that way they don't get as big of a multiplier at the end of the game. Every once in a while, there's going to be some dice that you cannot use for some reason. Maybe you get a travel die, but you've already reached the end of the travel track. Maybe you get a blue book, but you've already filled up the blue track. In that case, you can fill up spots on this cross. At the end of the game, all those are going to be worth 2 points apiece. We're also going to, if you get all the way to the end of a track, the first one there is going to get 5 points, the next one 3, the next one 2. So you're going to add up all those points as well. That goes in that column. There's these various city spots on the map. If you, the more cities you touch, the more points you're going to get. You're going to put those points there. If you have any influence left over after you've spent a whole bunch of it trying to get better dice up here on the board for the second half of the game, you're going to get that value divided by 4 as points. You're also going to get some points from your chapel. And then the majority of your points are going to come from these book tracks. This is where you take, whoever is the highest in the track multiplies 3 times whatever that dice value is, puts their total there. You do that for each individual book. Second place is going to get 2 times whatever the dice value is. Third place is going to get 1 times whatever the value is. If you're playing a 4-player game, you get half of whatever the dice value is. So you really want to participate in as many columns as possible. In fact, there are actually negative numbers on here. If you don't reach at least that negative number threshold, you're going to get a negative number in that column. So you want to try to get as many up on those columns as possible. And really what you want to do is want to get probably at least 1 column all the way to the top as well to guarantee some good benefits. So you add all those up, put them in this column, and then you add up all these 6 different spots for your final score at the top. Now there is a B side for both your player boards and for the main board. The chapel looks a little differently. All the dice benefits over here a little differently. And the map track is different as well. Instead of having to go kind of linearly, this one allows you to kind of go anywhere you want. And the point values across here are a little differently, as well as the negative thresholds are all a little bit different also. So I encourage you to play the A side first so you know the game, before you switch over to the more challenging B side. No matter what side you choose, whoever has the most points at the end of the game is declared the winner. If there is a tie, whoever is higher on the chapel is going to be declared the winner.
I thought that the A and B sides were really cool. I felt like, for me personally, the A side was help you learn the game, right? And then the B side was like ramped up. And it was only one section that was really different.
They all had there's slight tweaks everywhere, but like one major.
Yeah, the traveling dude or whatever he was called, that action. I thought that was fun because it was almost like a choose your own adventure map. Like you could choose exactly what you were hoping to do. You could try to get all the extra stuff and just ignore the cities, or you could try to only get the cities and get just the points for that. And I just really liked how you had control over that, and how the 1, 2, and 3 made a much bigger difference in that.
I like how this game had 2 different halves to it, and they felt very, very different. Yeah. So that first half, you just have that 4 rounds where you're just building up your resources, and then the second half of the game, you actually get a chance to spend those resources. You get a baseline of what books you want to go for, and then you get a chance to kind of more specifically drill down on those various books when you're bidding. Same thing with the traveling track as well. I thought that it's really neat having that to complete the different halves
Yeah.
of the game. You don't often see that.
Yeah, and the bidding for the second half was really unique, I thought. I liked how, like Ryan said, you're building up all these resources to spend them. You're getting all this stuff so you can get a better chance. And at least in the 2-player game, it makes a huge difference because if you don't bid at least half as much as the winning bid, they get to decide which dice you choose, right? Well, and they can see your board, they can see their board, and they know what helps everybody. So they can really mess you up. And so the game is forcing you, if you want to do well, to spend your resources. You can't just go 1, 1, 1, 1. And I loved that.
Also, came with a kind of a promotional pack, the chapel cards, which are really fun too. An extra way to bid and spend some resources in order to get some extra benefits.
You could do that throughout the whole game, too.
Yeah. Basically, whoever's ahead on the chapel track, which was kind of fun. This game was lightning fast. I mean, the first 4 rounds especially are over in just a matter of minutes. Like under 5 minutes. The whole game collectively, 15 minutes maybe tops.
Yeah.
And playing with a full 4 players.
And that was even with the AI and keeping track of that, it was still like that, yeah.
Yes, I mean, even with a full 4 players, you're talking about a 20-minute game experience, as long as everybody's, rolling their dice and moving, especially because a lot of it's simultaneous, which really helps, speed that along. This is not overstay its welcome. It's super fast.
It is super fast. So this is a really tiny thing, but I feel like I need to mention it. The markers on this were great. They had really fine points to them.
It was almost like you were using a nice quill, a fine quill.
Exactly.
Writing on a fine parchment.
Exactly what it was like.
Quill and Parchment.
Yep, 100%. I'm sure it has the exact same feel, right? Plastic and marker, I'm sure, feel exactly the same as Quill and Parchment.
I want to write with a quill sometime.
I'm convinced of that. But it was really nice components, and the dice. Oh my gosh! I kept, when Ryan was unboxing it and he was reading the rules, and I'm like, what are those? Those look like little boxes. They look like papers. They feel so light. The whole time he's trying to read the rule book, and he's like, okay, I get it. You like the dice. You can, move on now because I'm trying to read this. And it was so fun that they reminded me of paper because it was Quill and Parchment.
There you go.
Yeah.
I have something to admit. Ryan, have never played Biblios.
Hey! I've never played Biblios.
You've never played Biblios? Are you even a real gamer?
Did you just see what happened there?
Don't worry about this. All right, you guys, listen. Now that I've played Quill and Parchment Biblios, I really want to actually go play Biblios because I enjoyed this so much.
The library has it.
Oh, there you go. But we can go, after playing this and kind of seeing the theme and seeing the action and how smooth it was, obviously I know that there's going to be differences, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, what those differences are.
Yeah.
I want to see what Biblios is about because I know that it's a great game for everyone I've talked to who's played it has liked it. So, Quill and Parchment was that good that made me want to go seek its predecessor out.
Okay. So, I don't want to speak too soon, but... Dun, dun, dun. This might be my favorite roll and write / flip and write. I'm trying to think of all the ones I've ever played, and I really, really, really dug this a lot. When we played it, we just wanted to play it again, right? We wanted to play it back to back to back to back because you can. It's fun. You still have to think about it. It's not just pure chance, and yes. I'm just repeating myself over and over again. I really enjoyed this one.
I did too. It's a lot of fun.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to stay tuned to the very end for our pounds and inches update. But until then, make sure to subscribe to us so you can see our videos as they come out. You can find us on Facebook, we're Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. On Twitter, we're Ryan and Bethany 1. And on Instagram, we are Ryan and Bethany.
You guys, thanks for watching. We will see you next time. Bye. Hey everybody, thanks for sticking around for our Pounds and Inches updates. Just like in Biblios, Quill and Parchment, writing things down can be helpful. Nice segue, right? Stretching a little bit. But the point is, one thing that's been very therapeutic for us has been writing some of our thoughts down. We actually keep a blog on BoardGameGeek.com. It's called Pounds and Inches, where we kind of go through and talk about what we're going through, mentally, physically, emotionally, how our health is doing. We talk about games too on there and how they relate to health, and all that's been a lot of fun. So if any of that relates to you, if you want to check that out, BoardGameGeek.com, Pounds and Inches. I'll put a link down below in the descriptions. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for watching and sticking tuned to the very end.
Bye.
Bye, guys.